Hello and welcome to the 2023 TESOL special of the Teacher Think-Aloud podcast. I'm your co-host, Shey.
And I'm Anna.
We're recording this video episode less than a week after TESOL. You can tell from the bags under our eyes. I have to say, I'm still buzzing from this amazing experience.
And exhausted, yeah.
Exhausted, yes. But what else can you expect, right?
Yeah. It's always a balance of exhilaration and utter exhaustion from spending every waking moment learning and networking.
And drinking wine.
Of course. First thing we did when you got to the hotel in Portland, remember, was have a glass of Malbec at the hotel we were staying at, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this sure was. Way to blow up our spot.
But in all seriousness, our experience in Portland this year was absolutely wonderful. And like last year, especially if you weren't able to make it, we wanted to bring a small piece of the conference to you.
And if you were there, here's a little memory of it for you to share with your friends and colleagues.
So take a minute, dance it out with us.
And take a stroll through the 2023 TESOL International Convention. Robot.
Okay, that was awkward.
Always is. Doesn't matter how much I try that move. It doesn't work.
Yeah. So like last year, we interviewed several conference attendees. So let's jump right in and get to know our special guests.
Hello, my name is Nicole Brun Mercer. I use she, her pronouns, and I work at Boise State University. I'm the Associate Director of English Language Support Programs, and I teach in first-year writing.
My name is Rosemary Colón, she, her, and I teach at the university level, so higher ed. I work with international students coming here to study and get their degrees in the United States.
My name is Anna Erepetian. I come from Armenia. I work at 2 universities in Armenia, and my students are quite good. They have advanced level. So this is my first time at TESOL.
My name is Alexander Tang. You can call me Alex. My pronouns are he, him. I was a prior instructor of adult English learners at Seattle Central College and Highline College, but I'm at the University of Hawaii at Manoa now doing doctoral studies. So my PhD program is in East Asian languages and literature, specializing in Chinese linguistics. But TESOL is where I started and is very near and dear to my heart.
Lovely. My name is Carrie McKinnon. My pronouns are she, her. I am a co-founder of the International Language Coaching Association.
I'm Dorley Piski, and I live in Laramie, Wyoming. What I have been working on lately is reaching out to international professionals, especially in the area of STEM, assistant professors, postdocs, researchers, to help them express themselves more clearly in English so that they own the stage and can show and share their brilliant ideas and receive the respect that they deserve.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I say awesome a lot, clearly. Dorley also mentioned that this was her first time attending TESOL, and it was Anna and Alex's first time as well. Shout out to all of our first time attendees.
Woo, woo, woo. Yes. Welcome to the TESOL community and welcome to our podcast.
Before we jumped into each person's impressions of the conference, we wanted to ask them about their name tags, the ribbons they chose for themselves.
The ribbons that I am wearing today, well, it's just one, and it is presenter.
So I'm a new member and first-time attendee, and I'm a presenter.
I've been so busy going from sessions to session, I haven't even put them on my badge yet.
No ribbons for me. I forgot.
I'm wearing a lot. Presenter, first-time attendee, adult education intersection, applied linguistics, intersection, computer-assisted language learning,
all of
intersection, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans, professional learning network, student, refugee concerns, intersection, reading and vocabulary intersection, and my pronouns are he, him.
Oh my gosh, how amazing is Alex's assortment of ribbons?
Crazy. He's very dedicated to ribbon collecting.
I actually asked him to send me a picture of it after the fact. Take a look, y'all.
So colorful.
Yeah. So much more fun than me. All I did was grab Presenter, the prettiest multicolored purplish one I could find, mind you. But yeah, pretty boring.
Yeah, me too. I don't even have mine to show you. Sorry.
But it is kind of interesting, speaking of Alex's ribbons, of how they really illustrate the diversity of interests and specialties within our TESOL community.
There's just so much out there, and there are so many reasons to come to the TESOL International Convention. So let's hear about why our guests attended this year.
I come to TESOL for a number of different reasons. One is that I love getting a lot of ideas for activities that I can use in the classroom. I think that's really my number one reason. It allows me to make my classes fresh again and think about doing new things in the classroom, which is so important not just for my students, but also for me, and keeping me really feeling engaged and motivated to be there in the classroom.
That's so important.
The other thing I love is to hear about what people are reading, knowing their sources and what research they're doing. It really gives me ideas for things that I can also be reading and learning more about. And finally, it's just a way to connect with people. I think we've been so isolated over the last few years, and it's wonderful to be in face-to-face contact again and to be learning from one another and sharing ideas.
So why did I come to TESOL? Well, first of all, it's a great environment to grow professionally, to meet new people, to expand my network. I met a lot of amazing people here. We exchanged our contacts, and we plan to cooperate in the future, have projects together. So I'm very excited about it.
Nice.
I came to TESOL to really spread the message of language coaching, to amplify what we're doing with language teachers from all over the world that are transitioning into coaching and upskilling and exploring professional development avenues in coaching. So this experience has been really wonderful. I'm surprised. I thought that there might not be so much that was relevant to what we're doing in language coaching. And that's been a really rich discussion that's been going on since my first day of getting here.
So good.
I come for the community and to see people maybe that I meet via Twitter handles and things like that.
Talking about you.
And then also to learn, to see what other, because I'm affiliated with WASOL, to see what other affiliates are doing, how they're engaging with their communities and members. And also, like, advocacy is kind of my jam, so to kind of keep up with what's going on there.
Oh yeah, so fun fact, yeah, Rosemary and I actually met on Twitter.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's
So
pretty
cool.
she's pretty awesome. And as she mentioned, she's affiliated with WASOL, Washington State's Regional TESOL Association. And I think she's a board member for WASOL, which is great. Love the leadership, Rosemary.
Yeah, it's great to connect with all of these people from different parts of our lives. I think what Rosemary and Anna and a few other guests said is so true. TESOL is about learning, keeping up to date with research and practices, but it's also about community, about connecting and growing with other professionals in our field. And now that we've had a few days to recover, I've started really reflecting on how much those connections mean to me.
Yeah, me too. I just feel so supported and warm. What a great professional learning network.
And in addition to the connections, people we spoke with really emphasized what they took away from specific sessions. One session they mentioned was the opening keynote with entomologist Dr. Semi Ramsey.
So I was very impressed by the first keynote speech about biodiversity. It was very interesting how the presenter, who is not an English language specialist, how he could interestingly connect his research with insects with language. So that was really amazing. I also attended different sessions on storytelling, on different tips for English language teachers. I think I'm going to use whatever, maybe not right right away. So I need some time to digest all this information. I need some time to understand how I can use it in my practice. But overall, I think it was very useful, and I would love to come here again.
I love how many takeaways Anna came away with.
Oh, that first keynote was pretty great, wasn't it? Made me cry a bunch.
Yeah. I mean, the connection to TESOL was maybe a bit tenuous, but hearing Dr. Ramsey's personal story about finding and fighting for his voice in the scientific community as a researcher of color, you know, he overcame a lot of prejudices and obstacles. Truly inspiring story.
Great speaker, right? And a great advocate for minoritized groups in science. I also appreciated how his input brought some interdisciplinary elements into the conference. It's so important to look outside of our field and make connections rather than remaining siloed into what is strictly TESOL, right?
And I just really liked learning about bees' livers.
Me too. I was actually running around spouting out facts about bees for the rest of the conference. You know, we're a bit nerdy, I guess.
I'll claim that title.
Own it.
But Anna also mentioned storytelling, and it seems that there were several sessions on that topic in the program this year.
One of the relevant sessions that I attended was on Storytelling Circle, the UNESCO Storytelling Circle, that gave me an interesting framework to work with professionals when I do immersion programs with groups. I definitely want to try that out with them because I think we can get a lot out of this type of exercise, getting people to share their stories, connecting with other people at a deeper level.
There definitely was a focus on storytelling this conference. Actually, I went to that session that Dorley mentioned about the UNESCO story circles. So essentially, a question that encourages intercultural sharing is posed, and each participant in the circle has 90 seconds to share. So the one that they used in the workshop was like, what's the story behind your name? So everyone has 90 seconds, and no one else is allowed to speak during that time. Once everyone has shared, each person has 30 seconds to then react to what all members of the group have shared. So reflecting sort of in the moment. And this is repeated a couple of times. There's a small group debriefing and then a whole group debriefing if time allows for that. And essentially they're looking for common themes that were discussed. And so I agree with Dorley that this is a strategy that really could be employed in pretty much any setting.
That sounds like a cool framework. You and I should try out that name question as well at some point. I think we have a lot to say about that. But another storytelling workshop was one sponsored by the U.S. Department of State's English language programs. And actually, two of our previous podcast guests, Joe Voights and Richard Silberg, were a part of that.
Joe was on episode. Joe was on episode. He was on episode 25 on conflict in the classroom.
And Richard was on episode 30 on using drama in the classroom. And actually, the activity he shared during this workshop was on using tableaus for language teaching and active learning, which is what he told us about in our episode, if you remember. You should check it out.
Yeah, that's a good one. And Joe shared a strategy called One True Thing, where he has students go around in a circle and share just that one true thing about themselves. And usually he says it starts off being kind of obvious, like kind of lame answers like, I'm here, I guess. You know how teenagers are, right?
Yeah.
But as this goes on, people soften and they start to share more vulnerable things about themselves.
Yeah.
That's actually how he found out that one of his students just had a baby. So
you
get there.
Wow, that's awesome. And such a powerful storytelling activity. Our guest, Anna, also did a session on storytelling and podcasting, which she said went really well.
was about developing students' speaking and listening skills using digital storytelling and podcasting. So I think it was quite interesting for my audience because the room was full. There were a lot of questions, and I'm very happy to realize that so many people are interested in DSTs and podcasting, and I hope that most of them took something from my session and they will start implementing it in their classrooms.
Awesome. I'm sure they will. And look at that photo.
Yeah.
So many participants in her session. Amazing. We need to maybe do an episode with Anna on this topic.
Yeah, well, listeners, it may or may not be in the works.
Oh. Well, in case you're not watching, Anna just winked at me, just really awkwardly. Yeah, anywho, beyond storytelling, a few of our listeners also focused on diversity and advocacy. That was another important theme, just like last year.
I went to one on Wednesday afternoon. It was TESOL Leaders of Color. They wrote a book. It was pretty meaningful to see where the attitudes and the beliefs have changed, but then also some things have not changed. I mean, we still have work to do. For instance, how people view what an English teacher looks like, what they have to bring to these different places around the world, and even in the U.S. too. Like, what does it mean to have an accent when you're teaching? I do know people, I've had colleagues or interacted with other teachers that, they have doctorates, but some places won't hire them because you're not a native speaker, but what does that mean? So those changing things, I think, is really pretty powerful, especially since we work with international students,
I forgot what it was called yesterday, but I think it was like bi/multilingual education plus something else equals transformative pedagogy. And it was from a professor called Anna Mendoza. And I loved the way that she did her presentation because she talked for 15 minutes and there was activity for 20 minutes. So kind of like how you were doing yours this morning. And I really like that because it engages the participants. So I also really liked yours this morning talking about social media and language learning because I think it's really important to engage the learners with what they're using every day. And it can be fun in the classroom, right?
Nice. I love that they're both attending sessions on transformative pedagogy and representing the richness of multilingual English language teachers in the U.S. and abroad.
Yeah. Plus, the shout out about our media literacy workshop was pretty sweet of Alex.
Yeah.
We're not paying him, listeners. And I agree, the best kinds of workshops and presentations are active with practical applications we can take back to our classrooms. Nicole also agrees.
I have to say, I took a lot from your session on media literacy. That was fantastic. Again, because there was so much emphasis on practical applications in the classroom, activities that you can use in the classroom. And I was just frantically noting down and taking pictures of things that I'll be able to do in my own classroom. I also got a lot out of a session on, I think it was called Renegotiating Grammar in the Composition Classroom, and I might have gotten the title a little bit wrong, but again, that was a presentation that I would say drew heavily on the literature. There was only a quick amount of it, but a lot of sources listed, and then it was just back-to-back activities and things that I plan on using in the classroom now. So those have been two particularly good sessions, but really, I've been able to get something out of every session I've attended, even if it's not exactly my teaching context. You're still able to tweak things slightly for the area that you are in.
I love that. Yeah, you can get something out of every session.
And I think that's what we really need to keep in mind at TESOL. It might not click right away, right? It doesn't always, but everything we see and absorb at big conferences like these, it's up to us to take and adapt what we might learn about to our own context.
There's something to learn from everyone. And I also want to add that, the experience is so intense. It might take time for everything to sink in and make sense to us. Several participants had this same feeling.
To be honest, the sessions are so many, and you really want to go to all the sessions, but it's like physically it is just impossible. So you can't
Unfortunately.
tear yourself in many different parts and yes, and attend all the sessions.
It was totally worth it. I'm glad I came because I was able to connect with a few professionals from across the globe. I had not done much of the homework, so it was quite a challenge to navigate this huge maze because this is a massive conference.
I'm a little tired. Once I get towards the beginning of the afternoon, like my bandwidth is kind of like, I don't know how much more I can absorb. So I try to have a little grace and like, you don't have to attend everything, right? You need to bookmark some things and see what you can get to. But then that's what's great about meeting other people, because you're like, I went to this really great session. They had these things that you should take away, or maybe go check out this website and things like that. So like the stuff doesn't just happen inside the sessions, it's outside. Like I met somebody at my hotel, they did a presentation on pronunciation and gave me their information to check out what they're working on. So those interactions, I think, have been just as meaningful.
So much truth here. TESOL is a huge maze. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
As Anna said, we want to be in several places at once, right? But we just can't.
Yeah, there are definitely some people I didn't get a chance to spend as much time with as I wanted. And I had to skip so many great looking sessions, but still, we all got to connect with and learn from so many amazing people.
And what I love about what Rosemary emphasized about this idea of having a little grace, being kind towards yourself, you don't have to do everything. It's so easy to lose sight of that at a conference like this, and even just in our lives, right?
Yes, these are things we need to be better at, right, Shey?
Things that we're not the best at, right? Yes.
But listeners, now we want you to reflect. If you went to TESOL, what were your takeaways from the conference?
And if you didn't go, think about the connections you have in the field of English language teaching and your ongoing professional development. Where are you on your professional development journey? How has your PD evolved since the pandemic started? We'll be featuring answers to these questions in our upcoming episode on professional development in the post-pandemic world, which we presented on at TESOL. And we want to get more perspectives from our listeners. So please join the conversation.
You can share with us in a comment on social media or email us at teacherthinkaloud@gmail.com. We welcome your reflections, questions, and ideas, and would love to include your contributions in our upcoming episode.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe below on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, really any platform. Just do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us on the Teacher Think Aloud podcast. And until next time, happy teaching
and happy reflecting.